Today I'm going to do a video about myself. It's going to be a bunch of random things that you may or may not know about me. So, number one, I am the youngest of 7 children. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. I went to Catholic schools from preschool until my senior year. Wore a uniform every single day. Whenever we got like jeans days, it was like the greatest day of my life. I have a pacemaker. I got my first pacemaker when I was 16 due to a slow heart rate. The batteries in pacemakers, they're supposed to last up to 10 years. I believe mine lasted like 8 years. So yeah, I got my second one when I was 24, 25. I have never broken any bones. The only surgeries I've ever had is my appendix and my 2 pacemaker surgeries. My first job ever was when I was 14 years old. I worked at a swimming pool in the snack bar, and it was so much fun. I freaking love that job. Like, basically all these kids that I worked with, none of them went to the same school as me, so it was just a lot of fun to meet a bunch of new people, and then like we'd go off and we'd go, to school, and then it was like we'd get back together in the summer. We would just pick up right where we left off the summer before, and it was just a blast. I ended up working there all through high school, like every summer. Became a lifeguard for like 3 years, 3 summers, and then the last summer I was there, I became the manager. But so many great memories. One of my guilty pleasures is watching The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and Bachelor in Paradise. I have a couple friends who are on that bandwagon with me, and so we've been watching it for like years together. And we do like a Bachelor fantasy league. I lived in the same house like my whole life growing up, from when I was born until I moved out like in my early 20s. Is the same house. And what's really, really cool about that house is my mom actually grew up in that house. She comes from a family of 15 and she was one of the older ones, so once she was old enough she had to get out because they didn't have room. I love Target. I could go to Target every single day. I almost do. Sometimes when I'm really, really searching for things, if I need something specific, it's not uncommon for me to go to 2 or maybe 3 different Targets in one day because I like to check out the clearance. If you go around like the outside of the store, that's where they have all the clearance items. My favorite part. My first car was a Hyundai Excel, which they don't make anymore. I believe it was an 88. It was like maroon. It had a sunroof. It was a 5-speed that couldn't go like faster than 38 miles an hour, and it had no reverse. You heard me. No reverse. The most expensive parking ticket I got was $458. Growing up, I was obsessed with NSYNC, like obsessed. My room was covered, not even kidding, from like floor to ceiling with nothing but NSYNC. The Kansas City Star, the newspaper back home, they were doing a contest to basically to find out who Kansas City's biggest NSYNC fan was, and you could win like, front row seats and like a meet and greet pass and all that kind of stuff. So you had to submit like pictures and explain why you're the biggest fan, which I did, and then like I was one of the finalists, and it was based on boats, and I got 2nd place. My first 2 CDs ever were Jewel, Pieces of Me, and The Preacher's Wife soundtrack. I have a film degree, and while I was in school, I made a few short films, and one of them is a original musical, and I still love it. Like, I'm really, really proud of the work that everyone did on it. If you want to see it, you can go to jennybrinkman.com, and it's called Ordinary Mary, and it's on there, but you should watch it. I am a night owl. If I had it my way, I would probably be staying up till 4 or 5 in the morning every day, and then sleeping until like 2. I mean, those are like my ideal hours, but I've come to realize as a mature adult, mature 32-year-old that those hours are not appropriate. I had a cookie business for I think about 3 years. It was called Little Lulu's Confections. This is when I was living in Kansas, and I made pretty good money. I was able to quit like my full-time job as a graphic designer. I really just wanted to do the cookie thing. They were pretty detailed, like sugar cookies. If I have some pictures, maybe I'll insert some here just so you can see what I'm talking about. But cookies were the main thing that I did, and I really enjoyed doing it, but while I was doing it, I lived in 2 different apartments. Neither kitchen was good for that. Everything was always a mess. It took up so much space. It was so time consuming. Just the decorating alone of the cookies was so time consuming. I mean, the cookies would take at least 12 hours to dry after decorating them. And, you know, having to have space for all of that to be like, you know, laying out and drying. Not to mention, you know, doing social media, doing pictures of everything I took, posting the pictures, answering emails, you know, making the deliveries. I did ship cookies also, so, you know, doing the packaging, going to the post office, going to get all the supplies all the time. It was exhausting, and I mean, I did all of it. It just got to be too much that I just couldn't do it. You know, there was no socializing with anyone. I was just kind of going crazy, working by myself. So I do like comic books and some nerdy things. But one of my favorite shows, or favorite cartoons for sure, is called The Venture Brothers. It's on Adult Swim. They actually play that show on loop in order, like 24/7. So if you do want to watch it, you could totally do that without buying the DVDs. Anyway, so good. So I went to a Comic-Con in Kansas City and I dressed up as one of the henchmen. It was so fun. It definitely made me want to do cosplay again. Speaking of costumes, so my work does like Halloween costume contests. The first year I was at Oompa Loompa, and I like, you know, went to a bunch of their stores, piecing everything together, finding the right things and everything. And then this past year I was the lady from the Birds, and both times at my job I won first place. As a kid, I wanted to be a backup dancer as a career. My favorite movie of all time is Titanic. I saw it 7 times in the theater. It got to the point where like I would go with my family or with my mom or something, and like we would sit alone. Like I'd bring a box of Kleenex and I'd sit like towards the front and just want to be alone because I just knew it was gonna be waterworks, and like I wanted to be by myself. When I was a kid, I played basketball, volleyball, I ran track, I did cross country. I played soccer for a little bit, but not very long. Played softball. I love listening to movie scores. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with my mom. Like, I couldn't get enough of her. I made a really creepy collage of my mom, and at one point I had bunk beds, and so like I would sleep on the bottom one, and like, you know, above the bed you have like the twin size bed, but there's like bars that hold that mattress in place. I put like pictures of my mom on like in between there, so like when I would lay in bed I could like look up and I like saw all these pictures of my mom. That's so embarrassing. I can't believe I told you that. Anyway, I think that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If you're new here, please subscribe, and I will see you guys all in the next video.